For generations, whispers of a little-known secret have been passed down among the devout and ancient tradition, said to hold transformative power over one's financial life. At first glance, it seems almost absurd, a minor change to your routine, involving nothing more than an ordinary kitchen glass and a gesture so simple it borders on symbolic. Yet, according to tradition, this practice is steeped in the faith and works of the legendary Padre Pio, a figure revered for his profound spiritual legacy and miraculous acts. Imagine a ritual so humble yet so profound, tied to a specific date on the calendar, that countless believers claim it has brought about prosperity in ways they never expected. Why would such a straightforward practice have such a reputation? And why does this mystical connection to Padre Pio, a man considered both a saint and a miracle worker, resonate so deeply with those who follow his teachings? The secret lies not just in the act itself, but in the layers of meaning behind it. It's a story of faith, symbolism, and the enduring power of belief. Padre Pio, a Capuchin friar who bore the stigmata wounds mirroring those of Christ, spent his life offering spiritual guidance, healing, and acts of charity to people from all walks of life. His compassion and wisdom earned him veneration during his lifetime and canonization after his death. While his legacy is filled with stories of miraculous healings and answered prayers, some believe he also imparted less obvious wisdom ways to navigate the trials of earthly life, including financial struggles. One of these teachings, they say, involves the glass ritual, practiced on a specific date in December. It's a curious tradition, seemingly rooted in the belief that material prosperity and spiritual well-being are deeply interconnected. The act itself, simple enough to dismiss as superstition until you hear the stories. Believers recount experiences of unexpected financial blessings, debts resolved, opportunities appearing out of nowhere, and a renewed sense of stability. The key, they claim, isn't just the ritual itself, but the mindset it cultivates: faith, gratitude, and openness to change. What makes this ritual stand out is its accessibility. There's no need for elaborate preparation, no costly offerings, only the willingness to embrace its symbolic nature. But what exactly does the ritual involve? And what is the significance of the chosen elements, a glass and a date? The answers lie in the deep symbolism tied to Padre Pio's teachings. A glass, an everyday object, becomes a vessel for intention. The date, chosen with care, aligns with traditions of renewal, abundance, and the spiritual energy of the season. These elements come together to form a practice that is as much about reflection and faith as it is about action. Before you dismiss this belief as naive or overly simplistic, consider its broader implications. Rituals, regardless of their origins, often serve as reminders, nudges to realign our focus, reset our intentions, and reconnect with what matters. The spiritual legacy of Padre Pio teaches that simplicity is not a weakness but a strength. He often emphasized that faith doesn't require grandeur, only sincerity. So, how can you apply this ritual to your own life? What should you do with your glass on this emblematic date? While the specifics may vary depending on who you ask, the heart of the tradition lies in filling the glass symbolically or literally with your intentions. Some say it should be water, representing purity and renewal, while others suggest leaving it empty to signify space for blessings yet to come. The act of placing the glass in a prominent spot is said to symbolize openness to receiving abundance. As you reflect on this tradition, the real question isn't whether the ritual works as if by magic. Instead, it's whether the act of participating, of setting aside a moment to focus on your goals and trust in something greater than yourself, might inspire a shift in perspective. In a world often overwhelmed by complexity, perhaps it is the simplest acts that carry the most profound potential for change. So, whether you approach this with curiosity, skepticism, or faith, take it as an invitation to explore the spiritual and symbolic value behind the stories. Padre Pio's legacy reminds us that miracles often begin not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate acts of intention. Maybe, just maybe, this tradition can offer more than financial stability. It might just inspire a deeper connection to your faith, your purpose, and the limitless possibilities that lie ahead. In a quiet corner of devotion, where faith and tradition intertwine, a story unfolds, one not bound by reason, but by the unseen threads of belief. Among those who hold Padre Pio close to their hearts, a ritual has quietly passed through generations, whispered more than taught, its simplicity almost startling. At first glance, it seems like nothing more than a curious gesture. An empty glass, an unassuming date in December, and a small act imbued with meaning. Yet for those who partake, this ritual holds the potential to reshape not just their thoughts, but their fortunes. The timing is no coincidence. This tradition emerges during Advent, a time brimming with anticipation, as the world prepares for the arrival of something sacred. It's a season of reflection, of looking inward even as the world outside grows colder. For the faithful, it's a period rich with energy, a convergence of the tangible and the divine. Those devoted to Padre Pio believe that during Advent, the air itself carries the possibility of renewal, and for a moment, the heavy burdens of daily life debts, obligations, the grind of making ends meet can shift, as though aligned by some invisible force. The ritual seems almost mundane. Take a glass, place something inside, and let it stand as a vessel for your intentions. But as with many sacred traditions, the power lies not in the act itself, but in its symbolism. An empty glass, waiting open, becomes a metaphor for readiness. It is the ultimate symbol of possibility, a declaration that you are prepared to receive what the world or the divine has to offer. Water is often the first element to enter the glass. Clear, fluid, and essential to life, it represents renewal, cleansing, and the movement of energy. It's a silent yet powerful affirmation. Just as water flows freely, so too can life's blessings. But water alone is not the full story. Some say a pinch of coarse salt should be added, a nod to its ancient associations with purification and preservation. Salt, after all, has long been used to protect, to ward off negativity, and to enhance what is already good. And then there's the coin. Small, humble, and yet profoundly symbolic. Some devotees insist it should be a coin received during a moment of need, perhaps the last bit of change left after a difficult purchase, or a coin pressed into your hand when you least expected it. The smallest denomination suffices, for it represents something deeper than its monetary value. The idea that even the most modest resources, when paired with intention and faith, can grow beyond imagining. For others, the ritual calls for a piece of bread, instead of a coin, blessed, if possible. Bread, the cornerstone of sustenance, carries its own spiritual weight, symbolizing both nourishment and the abundance of life. Regardless of the choice, the ritual's essence remains unchanged. The glass becomes a vessel of faith, its contents a reflection of trust in unseen possibilities. But why Padre Pio? What connects this simple act to one of the most venerated saints of modern times? To those who believe, Padre Pio is more than a spiritual figure. He is a guide, a protector, and a source of strength. Known for his stigmata and miraculous deeds, he spent his life offering solace to those who were lost, sick, or struggling. He was a man of great simplicity, emphasizing that faith didn't require grandeur, only sincerity. This ritual, quiet and unassuming, feels like an extension of his philosophy, a way to bring light into the darkest corners of life through acts of humility and intention. For anyone facing hardship, financial troubles, strained relationships, personal crises, the ritual serves as a moment of pause. It invites reflection and hope, a chance to set aside fear and instead focus on possibility. The act of preparing the glass, whether with water, salt, a coin, or bread, becomes a meditative process. Each step is a reminder. You are not alone, and even in times of scarcity, there is room for abundance. What happens after the glass is prepared? Some place it near a window, letting it catch the light, while others keep it on a bedside table as a quiet companion. Its presence is a beacon, subtle yet powerful, reminding you of the intentions you've set and the faith you've chosen to nurture. For many, it is not the ritual itself that brings change, but the shift it inspires within, a sense of openness, a readiness to embrace opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. Skeptics might scoff at the idea. After all, how could something so simple make any difference? But those who practice this tradition will tell you it's not about logic, it's about connection. It's about believing that even in a chaotic world, there are forces at work that we cannot see, but can feel if we allow ourselves to. In the end, the glass is more than just a symbol. It's a challenge. It asks, are you willing to believe that something so small can spark something so big? Are you ready to approach life with an open heart and an open mind? And perhaps most importantly, are you willing to take that first step toward change, however humble it may seem? This tradition, tied to Padre Pio's enduring legacy, isn't just a ritual. It's a story, a reminder that even in the simplest acts, there is room for miracles. And for those who dare to embrace it, the glass may hold more than water or salt or a coin. It may hold the key to transformation. There's a quiet power in rituals, especially those steeped in faith and intention. They take the ordinary an object, a moment, and infuse it with meaning, transforming the mundane into something extraordinary. Among the traditions linked to Padre Pio, one stands out for its simplicity and the profound hope it inspires. A glass, a coin, a little water, and a wish. It sounds almost too humble to matter. But for those who have embraced it, this practice isn't just a gesture. It's a seed planted with faith that grows into possibility. It begins with a coin. Not just any coin, if you can help it. Ideally, it's one with a story, a piece of your journey that carries a memory, a coin you held tightly in a moment of uncertainty, or one you received unexpectedly, like a quiet nod from the universe. But even if you don't have such a token, any coin will do. The object itself isn't as important as what you bring to it. Your intentions, your hopes, your willingness to believe that even the smallest gestures can lead to something greater. The ritual takes place on a particular day in December, a time when the world feels suspended between the year's end and the promise of something new. The coin is placed into a glass of water, but not carelessly. This isn't a mechanical act, it's deliberate, thoughtful. As you drop the coin into the water, you pause. You see it settle at the bottom, and in that moment, you let yourself dream. Maybe you see your debts disappearing like shadows fading at dawn. Perhaps you imagine an unexpected opportunity, a chance to grow, to earn, to thrive. Or maybe it's stability you're craving, the kind that allows you to breathe deeply and sleep soundly. Whatever it is, you visualize it as clearly as you can, letting your intention ripple outward, like the faint disturbance in the water when the coin first lands. Is it mystical? Perhaps. But it's also deeply human. Faith, after all, is more than a religious concept. It's a psychological anchor, a force that shapes the way we see the world. When we believe in something, we act on it, often without realizing. A ritual like this doesn't create miracles out of thin air, but it can shift your mindset. It can help you see paths where you once saw walls, spark courage where there was fear, and open doors you didn't even know were there. Padre Pio understood this balance between faith and action better than most. He was a man who lived his life as an intermediary, not as a miracle worker, but as a guide, pointing people toward their own strength and the grace they could access if only they asked. He spent hours listening to confessions, comforting the grieving, and offering counsel to those in despair. His advice was never about waiting passively for divine intervention. He emphasized perseverance, honesty, and effort. Faith, he believed, was the fuel, but it needed the engine of action to move forward. In this light, the coin and the glass become more than symbols, they become tools. The water isn't just water, it's a mirror for your intentions, reflecting back the clarity and fluidity you hope to bring into your life. The coin isn't just currency, it's a reminder that even the smallest contribution, when paired with faith, can grow into something meaningful. Together, they form a ritual that blends the spiritual with the practical, encouraging you to anchor your hopes in something tangible, while leaving room for the intangible to unfold. The stories passed down by those who've tried this tradition are as varied as the people who tell them. There's the Italian businessman who chose a coin passed down from his grandfather, a relic from another era, and found himself flooded with unexpected business opportunities in the weeks that followed. There's the single mother who, after performing the ritual, stumbled upon a job that doubled her income, just in time to provide for her family during the holidays. These aren't tales of magic in the traditional sense, they're stories of alignment, where intention and opportunity met in ways that felt almost predestined. And then, of course, there's the figure of Padre Pio himself. To his followers, he wasn't just a man of miracles. He was a man of empathy, someone who saw and understood the struggles of ordinary people. He didn't promise wealth or an easy life, but he did offer something perhaps more valuable: hope. For those who turned to him, he became a source of strength, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is a way forward. The ritual, then, is less about the objects and more about the connection it fosters between you and your faith, between your desires and your actions, between the physical and the spiritual. The glass, empty at first, becomes a vessel not just for water, but for possibility. The coin, resting at the bottom, is a quiet promise that even the smallest gesture can carry weight. And the act of pausing, of focusing, of letting yourself believe, that is the true magic. As the Advent season approaches and the year draws to a close, this tradition offers an invitation to reflect, to hope, to act. It's a reminder that transformation doesn't always begin with grand gestures. Sometimes it starts with something as small as a coin, a glass, and the courage to dream of something better. In the stillness of preparation, there is power. A simple glass, carefully chosen and cleaned, becomes something more: a silent witness to hope and transformation. The coin, small and unassuming, carries its own weight, especially if it comes with a story. A coin once clutched during a moment of uncertainty, or one passed on as a gesture of kindness, takes on a new life. But even if the coin is plain, without history, it will do. Its meaning lies in the act, in the intention, in the quiet connection between the heart and the infinite. The ritual begins with water, poured into the glass with care. Water, a force of nature, adapts, flows, and nourishes. It represents life itself, full of motion and possibility. The coin, when placed into the water, creates a union between the material and the fluid, a powerful metaphor. The coin is a symbol of resourcefulness, of what can grow and multiply. The water speaks of adaptability, of letting life find its way even through obstacles. Together, they form a message not to the divine alone, but also to the depths of the unconscious. They whisper that abundance is near, that opportunities exist, waiting to be recognized by eyes open to see them. There is no need to announce this ritual, no need for grand proclamations. It is a private moment, intimate and sacred, where the glass of water stands quietly, holding not just the coin, but also the hopes placed within it. For some, a short prayer accompanies the act. The words could be familiar, an Our Father, or a Hail Mary, or something deeply personal, crafted in the moment. The only requirement is sincerity, a genuine outpouring of desire and trust, offered without hesitation or pretense. This is more than an act of faith. It is a reflection on the essence of money itself. In Christian thought, money is neither good nor evil. It is the attachment to wealth, the greed for more at any cost, that leads to imbalance. Padre Pio, in his wisdom, reminded his followers that money is a tool to be used with care and integrity. He encouraged work, saving, and sharing values that transform wealth from a source of stress into a means of creating good in the world. The coin in the water becomes a symbol of this balance. It is not just about receiving, but about recognizing the value of what is already present and learning to use it wisely. As the glass sits, catching the light, it becomes a quiet presence in the room. Each time the eye falls upon it, there is a moment to remember: faith, commitment, and the belief in something greater. The ritual doesn't promise miracles in the form of sudden riches. Instead, it offers a chance to pause, to reflect on one's relationship with money, and to cultivate a mindset of gratitude and possibility. Those who participate often find themselves thinking differently. Problems that once seemed insurmountable begin to unravel. New ideas emerge. Courage appears where there was once doubt. Stories have been shared about this quiet act, passed from one person to another in devotional whispers. An Italian man, struggling in his business, chose a coin his grandfather had given him, a reminder of resilience during hard times. Days after placing it in the glass, unexpected opportunities came to him, changing the course of his financial troubles. A mother, worn thin by life's demands, performed the ritual and soon found a job that doubled her income. These stories are not about magic, but about the power of alignment when intention and effort meet in a way that feels divinely timed. Padre Pio's presence is felt in the simplicity of the ritual. During his life, he was a man of extraordinary empathy, listening to confessions, comforting the grieving, and guiding the lost. His teachings were grounded in action and trust, a reminder that faith requires perseverance. This ritual reflects his spirit. It is not about waiting passively for change, but about creating the conditions for transformation, aligning one's heart and hands with a higher purpose. The coin and the glass are not the end of the story, they are the beginning. They represent a choice, to see prosperity not as an accident of fate, but as something we can work toward, something we can invite into our lives by being open, attentive, and willing to change. The ritual serves as a reminder that transformation starts not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate acts of faith and intention. And sometimes that's all it takes to begin seeing the world differently. In the simple act of placing a coin into a glass, there is a profound lesson, one that goes beyond individual gain. It is not just about personal financial relief or finding an unexpected opportunity. It is about fostering a spirit of community, sharing, and hope. In the tradition of Padre Pio, this ritual becomes a reflection of his teachings, that faith is not something to be hoarded, but something to be shared, just as blessings are not meant to end with us, but to ripple outward. For many who have experienced its effects, whether financial, emotional, or psychological, there is a natural desire to pass the ritual along. It is shared with family, friends, and even colleagues, spreading not just the practice, but the belief that life's burdens can be lightened through cooperation and shared faith. This is not about wealth for wealth's sake or solving problems in isolation. It is about creating a network of mutual support, a chain of hope that grows stronger with each new link. The ritual becomes a vehicle for building trust in collective action, for nurturing the Christian values of empathy, kindness, and generosity. Stories of this tradition echo far beyond its Italian Catholic roots. Padre Pio's followers span the globe, and the ritual has adapted to the cultures it touches. In Brazil, Portugal, across Latin America, and even in the United States and other parts of Europe, people have embraced the practice, each adding their own interpretation. Some replace the coin with a crystal, imbuing it with personal meaning. Others add a drop of olive oil to the water, symbolizing anointing and protection. Despite these variations, the core remains unchanged, a union of the material and the spiritual, an offering of faith, and a quiet moment of intention. This universal adaptability speaks to something deeper, something shared across humanity, the desire for stability, for abundance, and for connection to something greater than ourselves. It shows how people, no matter where they are, instinctively turn to the sacred for comfort and inspiration when facing life's uncertainties. And yet, even in its spiritual simplicity, the ritual holds a vital reminder. No prayer or practice, no matter how symbolic or deeply rooted in tradition, can replace personal effort. Padre Pio, in his lifetime, was not a man who handed out easy solutions. His teachings emphasized the need for inner change, for the strengthening of faith, and for a commitment to good works. He inspired action rather than passivity, reminding his followers that blessings often require preparation to receive them fully. Financial prosperity, in this context, is never the result of a single act or a mystical coincidence. It is a confluence of effort, discipline, opportunity, and faith sprinkled, perhaps, with a touch of mystery. The ritual, for those who expect immediate miracles, may lead to disappointment. But for those who approach it with sincerity and the intention to align their hearts and minds with their goals, it becomes a spark. It awakens motivation, invites reflection, and inspires action. It calls for planning, study, and dedication, asking the participant not just to hope for better days, but to take steps toward creating them. For many, the beauty of the ritual lies in its mystery. Some prefer not to question its origins or logic, allowing the practice to remain untouched by analysis, preserving its sacred aura. For others, understanding the deeper symbolism, the union of the material and spiritual, the cultural influences that shaped it, and the psychological impact it fosters makes it all the more fascinating. In truth, the ritual's power lies somewhere in between. It is both mysterious and practical, both ancient and modern, both deeply personal and universally adaptable. It is a reminder that faith, when paired with action, can transform not just circumstances but perspectives. And as the glass sits quietly, holding its coin in water, it also holds a promise. That change, no matter how small, begins within. Everyone discovers their own way forward. What matters most is understanding that the purpose of the ritual isn't to create false hope, but to offer a fresh perspective, one where faith and spirituality become allies in the journey toward a more stable financial life. The tradition of the cup and the coin is not just an act, it's an annual marker, a pause in time to remember that even in the hardest moments, there is always a chance for change. Whether that change is external or internal, it is the belief in possibility that awakens creativity, fuels perseverance, and strengthens faith in a brighter future. For those deeply rooted in spirituality, faith is a tether to something greater, be it God, saints, angels, or the unseen forces of the universe. Entrusting one's hopes to a simple ritual doesn't mean abandoning effort or responsibility. Rather, it's an acknowledgement of the invisible network of support that surrounds us, the inspiration that faith can spark, and the sense of connection that comes from recognizing we are not alone in our struggles. Padre Pio, in this context, is more than a saint. He becomes a bridge, carrying concerns to the divine while returning strength and determination to those who seek his intercession. The pursuit of financial prosperity isn't about the accumulation of wealth for its own sake. It's about security, the ability to provide for loved ones, and the dignity that comes from stability and peace of mind. For many, weaving the sacred into this pursuit gives their efforts greater meaning. It reframes money as a tool, a means to an end rather than an end in itself. It connects their labor to a higher purpose, transforming the mundane into something meaningful. A simple gesture like placing a coin in a glass becomes a declaration that work, faith, and intention together can create something lasting and good. To truly embrace this tradition, it helps to understand its layers. The cup, the coin, and the water carry rich symbolism. The cup is open, ready to receive blessings. The water represents life's fluidity and renewal. The coin signifies material resources, small but capable of growth. Together, they form a metaphor for harmony between the physical and the spiritual, a reminder that prosperity is not just about external wealth, but also inner clarity and balance. The stories shared by those who practice this ritual speak to its impact, not as a guarantee of immediate results, but as a catalyst for change. People have described how this act of faith renewed their determination, brought fresh ideas, or gave them the courage to pursue opportunities they had previously overlooked. These stories reveal a pattern. The ritual awakens something within, a shift in perspective that ripples outward into real-world action. As the tradition of the cup and the coin spreads across different cultures, it evolves. Some add their own touches, replacing the coin with a crystal, adding olive oil to the water, but the essence remains the same. It is a union of hope and action, faith and effort, intention and belief. The ritual is not a replacement for planning, discipline, or hard work. Rather, it complements them, offering a moment to realign with one's values and goals, to reconnect with the belief that change is possible. The question, then, is simple yet profound. What will you do when the time comes? With this understanding of the tradition's origins, its symbolism, and the experiences of those who have found strength and transformation through it, the answer rests with you. Whether you see it as a spiritual act, a psychological reset, or simply a symbolic gesture, the opportunity is there, a chance to pause, reflect, and decide what steps to take toward the life you want to build. In the end, the ritual is not about the coin or the water. It's about the courage to believe, the determination to act, and the faith to embrace the possibility of something better. You have the freedom to decide whether to watch from the sidelines, staying distant from this custom, or to participate, placing the coin in a cup of water with either a sense of renewed faith or a curious, even skeptical outlook. The choice is deeply personal, shaped by your beliefs and your willingness to try something unfamiliar. On the surface, it may seem like an insignificant gesture, but for those who embrace it, the act carries a quiet potential, not as a solution to all problems, but as an invitation to pause, reflect, and realign. If you choose to try it, there's no need to rush or burden the ritual with unrealistic expectations. This isn't about waking up the next morning to a transformed financial reality. It's about something more subtle and enduring. By placing the coin in the water, you are also placing your intention, your hope, and your desire for growth. The act serves as a reminder that meaningful change begins not in the world around us, but in the mindset we bring to it. It's the first step, however small, toward transformation. Over time, you may find yourself reflecting on the impact of this annual ritual. Perhaps you won't notice an immediate change in your finances, but you might find yourself seeing possibilities where there were once only obstacles. The simple gesture of engaging in this practice might spark a new discipline, prompting you to plan your expenses more carefully, save with intention, or explore new ways to generate income. Even if faith is not a strong part of your life, the ritual can act as a marker, a milestone on your calendar that encourages reflection on your habits, ambitions, and values. Ultimately, the true value of this tradition is not limited to its potential to bring prosperity. Its deeper power lies in its ability to prompt self-awareness and personal growth. By participating, you're not just engaging with an external ritual. You're opening a door to examine your relationship with money, hope, and change. The real force driving transformation is not in the coin or the cup, it's within you, in the interaction between belief, attitude, and effort. That's where the true magic happens. The tradition of the cup and the coin, associated with the name of Padre Pio, may or may not bring direct changes to your financial life, but it will inevitably raise questions, inspire actions, and encourage reflection on the way we think about prosperity and faith. It's a reminder that hope and effort are partners, not opposites. Perhaps you'll feel compelled to test this practice, to observe its effects, and to see how it resonates with your own life. Even if the results are intangible shifts in mindset, new clarity, or subtle changes in how you approach challenges, the act itself holds meaning. If this message inspires you, consider sharing it with others. Share the story, the idea, or your reflections with those who might find comfort or encouragement in it. Whether you are a believer in the power of faith or simply curious about the potential of small, intentional acts to shape your future, this tradition offers something valuable: a pause, a moment to reflect, and an invitation to seek new directions in the face of life's uncertainties. In the end, it's not just about financial prosperity, it's about discovering within yourself the courage to hope, to act, and to create the change you wish to see. If this message resonated with you, consider giving this ritual a try and see what reflections or changes it brings to your life. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more content that weaves together faith, history, and personal growth. Thank you for watching, and may hope and determination guide your path forward.